It may come as a surprise to some of you, but horror comics are actually my favorite genre to read. There's something about the horror genre that makes it so malleable to political commentary. The way that it's able to subtly hide its message among gore and jump scares are things that just excite me so much. So, with Halloween around the corner and with me getting into the spirit of the holiday, I thought that, well, now it's time to break out some of the best horror comics that you can read around this time of year. Ladies, gentlemen, ghouls, and scrolls, this is Comic Guide 101, and today we're going to be talking all about books that crawl under your skin. The scariest of the scariest, we're talking horror comics. When looking at the current state of pop culture that we consume, serial killers are a dime a dozen. Characters like Hannibal and Dexter have become part of our pop culture lexicon, and to be quite honest, I'm a bit tired of them. Which is why when I say that Nailbiter is one of the best ongoing horror comics out at the moment, I don't make that statement lightly. Written by up-and-coming superstar Joshua Williamson, Nailbiter tells the story of Edward Charles Warren, the serial killer known as the Nailbiter. The story opens up to Warren being arrested, and the FBI agent that arrests him has gone missing. This mystery is what leads FBI agent Nicholas Finch to the town of Buckaroo, Oregon. The catch is that this town has produced 16 of the world's most notorious serial killers. What follows is a chase to discover why this town has produced so many evil killers. What's great about this series is just how aware Williamson is of horror and the serial killer story tropes that are out there at the moment. If serial killer stories aren't really your bag, but you're more into the occult side of horror, then I highly recommend you check out Fatale. Combining crime, horror, and the occult, Fatale centers around the character of Joe, who has lived for dozens of years. You see, Joe has a gift, or in some cases, a curse. She is able to make any man obsessed with her. The story takes place across several decades, and Joe is relentlessly pursued by a gang of Lovecraft-inspired beings, and unfortunately for the men that fall in love with Joe, they usually just end up becoming Joe's protectors and end up in tragic places. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips shine here in what is arguably the duo's best work. The pacing is fast and the art is great. Fatale is a modern day classic that is sure to send chills down your spine and make you question if what you're seeing is actually real. Speaking of modern day classics, it would be a downright tragedy if I forget to mention Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez's brilliant horror comic, Lock and Key. Out of all the books on my list, this is my favorite. Lock and Key centers around the Locke children, and at the beginning of the story, something tragic happens to them and forces them to move into Lovecraft Manor. Through happenstance, the kids end up finding a set of keys that, when paired with a corresponding door, give them certain abilities. While at first things are going great and the kids are having a blast with their newfound powers, things take a turn when a being that has nefarious plans for the kids shows up and starts killing anyone that is in his way. What's so great about Lock and Key is that every character is fully realized, and when the bodies start piling up, you end up feeling every single death. For those of you that are wondering where Walking Dead is on my list, while I have nothing against the book, and I think the first 48 issues of the series are brilliant, I will not be including that here. Simply because I feel that The Walking Dead has recently made me feel like Kirkman is running out of steam. Instead, I'm going to recommend a different type of zombie book. I'm going to recommend Afterlife with Archie. Set in an alternate Archie universe where the zombie outbreak has come to Riverdale, Afterlife with Archie is such a fun read and features art by the always phenomenal Francisco Francavilla. While the series is great, the fact that it has an inconsistent publishing schedule is a bit of a downside. The series started in 2013, and as of this recording, there's only been 10 issues. Now, for my fans out there that love to read manga, there is no more of an obvious choice than Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Uzumaki is a seinen horror manga that centers around the small city of Kuruzo-cho and its inhabitants that are plagued by a curse that involves spirals. While Junji Ito's writing is stellar, the real treat here is his art and the different ways that he's able to incorporate various spirals into characters' heads and other body parts to really get under your skin. There are some truly stellar pieces of art here, and after having just seen a few pages, I knew that some of these things would be nightmare fuel for me for months to come. As a side note, I highly recommend you guys research the study of spirals in nature and our pop culture before reading this. I feel like if you go in knowing some of these things, it will enhance your experience. The last book on my list is one that is regarded by manga and comic fans around the world as one of the greatest pieces of fiction that the industry has ever produced. Of course, I'm talking about Berserk. Berserk centers around the character of Guts in his never-ending crusade to stop the God Hand, a group of demons that has released a demonic horde on the world. Berserk is known as a classic, and volumes 3 through 13, otherwise known as the Golden Age arc, are regarded as a modern-day masterpiece. I love Berserk, and it's a series that really only gets better with every single volume that you read. If blood, gore, and violence are more up your alley, then this is the book for you. Comics and horror are two things that seemingly go together perfectly. While I know that there are certainly books that I've not included on this list, titles such as Creepy and Tomb of Dracula, each one of these titles is sure to be perfect for you, and it's sure to be something that you will be able to read and get you into the holiday spirit. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this channel. If this is your first time watching my videos, take a look at some of my other stuff. You could follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and of course there's the Patreon. And on top of all that, if you want to purchase any of these books, there's going to be Amazon links down below in the description. If you follow those links, I get a cut of it, and it doesn't come out of your wallet, it comes out of Amazon's. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Uzumaki is a seinen horror manga that centers around this small titty. Wow, I fucked that up.